Our Wyopreps fan voted game of the week takes us to 2A, and it's a Saturday afternoon game as the third-ranked Lovell Bulldogs take on the fifth-ranked Lyman Eagles. On the phone with me right now is the head coach of the Lovell Bulldogs, Nicc Crosby. Coach, first of all, thank you so much for your time today. I want to begin with, what have you seen out of your squad here early on in this 2020 season?
I think we have a really resilient group. They certainly are going to play hard to the final whistle. I feel like there's a lot of chemistry on our team. They get along really well. They work really hard together. Defensively, I feel like we've done a really good job of creating a lot of turnovers. It's really given our offense a boost, getting good field position for the most part. So really excited about the rest of the season. Had a tough game last week with Mountain View. That's a great football team, and certainly hoping to rebound this week and have to play really well to get that done, that's for sure.
Schedule makers really didn't do you a lot of favors putting you against two defending champs in the first couple of games, did they?
Yeah, looking at the schedule coming into the season, we knew it was going to be pretty front-loaded. We knew we'd be tested early and often, and we hope to be able to step up to the challenge, be able to get back on track, like I said, with some wins right away, but we'll certainly be battle-tested after the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and hopefully we can take those lessons with us for the rest of the year and make it a success.
You guys obviously started off with a big kind of maybe eye-opening win to some folks around the state by shutting out Bighorn, but then you mentioned the tough game last week against a good Mountain View team. How has your team responded this week in practice, do you feel?
I feel like they did a really good job. It stung. We knew coming into the game Mountain View would be a really big test. I certainly don't feel like there was any overlooking anybody. You'd be really foolish to overlook a team that's coming off a state championship, and they've been in the hunt or won it the last several years. So I feel like we have a good attitude, and we know this isn't a week where anybody's going to feel sorry for us for that close loss. Lyman's going to certainly come out playing hard, and so our kids have taken that into account. They've had a great week of practice so far. I feel like we have the right mentality to go down and give Lyman a really good game this weekend.
Describe your team in terms of what you guys like to do. It sounds like you're a pretty big physical team and really like to pound the ball a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like we have some good size and strength up front. I feel like our runners are good physical runners in between the tackles. But this year, being my second year here now, I feel like we've been able to establish our passing game a little bit more. And in the Mountain View game, I feel like we were especially balanced. So we're hoping to bring a little bit more of a balanced attack. We have lots of skill guys who've improved quite a bit in the off season with their route running and catching the ball and making some plays after they have the ball in their hands out on the perimeter. We're hoping to not get away from being a physical team in between the tackles, but also be able to make people defend us on the perimeter as well.
Talk a little bit about some of those guys. I'm not trying to necessarily single anybody out per se, because I know you mentioned you want the balance, you want to kind of spread the ball around, but it seems like C.J. Lindsay and then your quarterback, Kason James, provide a nice little 1-2 punch where they can both run the ball effectively, but then as you mentioned, Kason's kind of opened things up in the pass game. What have you seen with CJ and Kason's, their development?
CJ, he's a sprinter, first and foremost, and so he's just been working really hard on having good pad level and finishing off his runs, getting those extra few yards after contact, and then, occasionally, like in the Bighorn game, being able to break a tackle or two and break it all the way in for a score. And Kason's just really savvy. He's patient, but he was a running back before he became a quarterback, and so he's really good at finishing his runs and getting us a few extra yards. But then we've tried to add some RPOs as well, so teams that are trying to stack the box on us, we have some quick little passes that we can throw, and his decision making on those has been pretty good. And then our athletes, we've got Tyler Nichols, we've got Isaac MacArthur, Aiden Mays, Bishop Trainer, Amos Monterde. Those guys have done a really good job. They spent a lot of extra time after practice running routes and getting on the same page with our quarterback. From a coach's perspective, it's really nice because we've got a great combination of just quickness and shiftiness along with just some power. So depending on, what we're looking for, we can really mix it up out there and give the defense a lot to think about for sure.
You talked about Tyler. What a start for him defensively, Coach. I mean, he's already got 50 points in a couple of games so far this season. It seems like he's got a nose for the ball with a couple interceptions and a fumble recovery and even a couple pass breakups already.
Yeah, he asked me the other day, he's really hungry to keep improving and everything. And, I never want to tell a kid, hey, you don't have anything to work on, but that's about as close as I've been. He's been all over the field, like you say. We actually wanted to play him at strong safety, and as we went around, he just, like you said, he just has such a nose for the ball. We just wanted to get him in closer to the action, but his reads have improved so much. Last year it took a while, and by the end of last year, he was starting to get his pass and run reads a lot more quickly, and he was a lot more effective in pass defense. And then this year, he just, in that Bighorn game in particular, got under a couple of balls and made some good plays. But even in the Mountain View game, he's in the right places almost all the time, has a real nose for the ball, and he just doesn't quit. If you're going to block him, you're going to have to block to the whistle because he's going to come at you all day long.
Let's talk about this week's opposition, Lyman. What do you see out of the Eagles when you watch them on film, Coach?
First of all, I've got just a ton of respect for the Eagles. Little side note, when I started coaching, I was a middle school coach in Star Valley, and Dale Anderson was the head football coach there for the Star Valley varsity team. And so I'm pretty familiar with Dale. I know his kids always play really hard, always are physical. They give it everything they've got. So from them, as I watch film, it's nothing that's a surprise to me. They're really strong up front. Both sides of the ball. They've got size, they've got strength, and they play hard. Those kids have motors, and so we're going to definitely have our hands full there. And then they've got some experience coming back with their skill guys too, and that's definitely shown in the film that we've seen. So we know we're going to have to play with good pad level and use good technique up front to battle with their bigs. And then we're going to have to be in the right spots, get good reads, and make sure that we are taking care of the perimeter and their passing game defensively.
I wish you best of luck Saturday against Lyman. Safe travels to you, Coach. Thanks so much for your time again.
Thank you.
On the phone with Dale Anderson, the head coach of the Lyman Eagles, as part of our WyoPreps Game of the Week. They will be taking on the third-ranked Lovell Bulldogs coming up on Saturday. And, Coach, first of all, thanks so much for your time today. Guys are off to a 2-0 start, 1-0 in conference play, and actually technically 3-0 if you count the Week 0 win. What have you seen out of your squad here early on that's allowed you to have success here in 2020 thus far?
Well, I've been really impressed with how our defense has been playing. We got a good group of kids there, and our defensive coach does a great job of getting them organized and squared away each week on, a strategy for the teams we play. So, I think they've been kind of the driving force right now with our success. Our offense, we've been okay, but we've got to step up a little and help them out a little more, I think.
What has it been like here to kind of adjust to different things early in the 2020 season? How have you seen your team, I guess, react to adversity that they faced, and how do you feel they've reacted to it?
We just try to follow all the rules, and the kids have been good. It is hard a little bit. The hardest part, I think, is sitting on a bus, because we're supposed to be in masks and stuff. Around school and practice, it hasn't been too bad, but a couple of those road trips where it's 90 degrees outside and you're wearing a mask, and that's kind of been it's as much as anything, it's just kind of a hassle. But our kids have really been good about trying to follow the rules, and we explain to them that if you want to play, you got to do it, and I think they understand that. So they've been really good that way.
What about adversity on the field? How have you seen your team react to that within a game?
They're pretty resilient. It's we've got a few seniors this year, which we haven't had in the past. we don't have a ton of them, but we've got some experience out there on the field. And I think we got some kids that are leaders that, if things aren't going well, they can kind of rally around each other. And that's kind of what we try to reinforce with them. Always just give your best effort regardless of what's happening, and, eventually good things will happen. And if they don't, then we know at least we gave our best effort.
I know football is a team game, and I'm not trying to single anybody out, but it looks like Preston Brewer, Joseph Turner, a couple of the guys that are good defense. Brewer's off to a great start, it looks like, on the defensive side.
Yeah, he's just a pretty good athlete in general. Just kind of move him around a little bit based on who we're playing and what we need. But it does help to have, Joseph and Hanson Bradshaw. They're pretty tough to handle inside sometimes. So, it's kind of a group effort, but those are some guys that really are, they're playing well right now.
You mentioned you want to come along offensively. It looks like you've had some pretty decent balance so far, at least. Do you like the kind of 50-50 balance you've seen between, I know the run game's probably a little bit heavier, but do you like that balance thus far?
Well, we've always been kind of run heavy, and so being able to throw a little bit this year has helped us. So we're hoping to, kind of just expand on both. And, teams are going to try to take one or the other away. We hope that whatever they try to take away, we can, capitalize on. My belief with balance is it's not a 50-50 split. It's whatever keeps the defense off balance. To me, that's what balance is. So we have to run 50 times and pass twice, but it keeps the defense off balance, and that's kind of what we're after. So, we try to work on both aspects of it and hope that we can, keep teams guessing a little.
What have you seen in terms of the development of Carter Smith, your quarterback, that's allowed you to maybe go to the air game a little bit more?
He's a kid, came in new last year to our program, and so there was some, just learning a new system and things like that. So, he's a good, hard-working kid that really wants to learn and think, and sometimes we got to get him to not think so much, actually. But, he's a good, hard-working kid that, wants to be good and wants to succeed and wants to help us win. So, it's easy to work with a kid like that as a quarterback, a kid that really just wants to learn and grow and develop.
Let's talk about the big matchup. You guys get a host and third-ranked Lovell. They're coming off their first loss of the season last week to your county rival there in Mountain View. What do you look at when you see Coach Crosby's squad?
A lot of huge guys. They're big. We've got a couple of decent-sized kids with Bradshaw and Turner, but, man, they dwarf us. So, that'll be the big thing with them. And then their kids are not only big, but they play physical. Nick's done a good job up there of getting that program kind of back on its feet again and headed in a better direction. And, that's a credit to him and the kids they have there. But, yeah, they are, you look across the board, their running backs are big and run hard. And, up front, defensive line, offensive line, which, that's where it really counts. They're pretty tough.
Outside of the size-wise, do you kind of see a similar type of team in terms of your own and the style where maybe a little more run-heavy, but they also have the ability to pass at the same time? Do you kind of see similarities there?
Well, I think so. I think, they definitely want to run the ball. They have those, the big guys up front, and they want to push people around. And, their quarterback and running back both are really good runners. But the quarterback, he'll drop back if you buy it up too much. And they got some kids that can catch. So, yeah, they cause some problems because they do have some balance. I know they like to run more, but if you don't fall asleep on their pass game, they'll burn you with a big one.
What are maybe some kind of basic keys for your squad Saturday to try and have success against Lovell?
Obviously you got to slow down their run game. I think that's always key with a team like them, especially this year. You're not going to stop it completely, but I think if you can slow it down and make them, go to some other things. But, the game's always won and lost, in my opinion, on the front line. So our ability to run the ball and our ability to stop their run game, I think will be a huge key in that game.
Coach Anderson, I appreciate your time today. Best of luck Saturday afternoon against the Bulldogs.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate your time, too.